Well, hello, everybody. It's Teresa Sanderson. Very excited to connect with you. It's another Monday. And, I always like to come to you with some information, news you can use. So today we're talking about 5 steps to becoming a nursing continuing education provider. So as you pop in today, please feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you're catching me on the replay, please comment #replay and let me know you stopped by. So for the last few weeks, I've been talking about selling on social and how to show up, with your nurse owned business on platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, how to connect with your community, really nurture and engage relationships. And we actually just completed last week the Selling on Social workshop. If you missed it, it was absolutely the bomb. It was wonderful, made some awesome connections with some great people, and really saw some action takers in the room who were ready to update their Facebook profiles, LinkedIn profiles, and YouTube and really get things going. So that's very exciting because my goal in everything that I do is helping you move the needle on your business. So with that said, though, I'm on to a new project and right now, so we're going to start shifting gears and talking about nursing continuing education and how you can become a nursing CE provider and or add CE credit to your courses as a nurse. So this is really important stuff. And for those of you who don't know me, let's face it, in social media, a lot of new people come into and out of our circles. And so if you don't know me, my history is I'm a 32 year RN. So I'm an old nurse. And the thing is, my husband and I in the early 2000s, we started a hospice nursing agency and grew it to $3 million in annual revenue from just a $6,000 investment using only a nursing continuing education program as a vehicle for marketing. So go figure. This, of course, was an amazing experience, something that was really fun to do and also impactful because we could see that as our hospice grew, not only did we serve more patients than we ever dreamed we would serve, we were able to do things like impact the length of stay for hospice patients, improve the level of care, improve the understanding of healthcare providers and nurses in our local area by doing that. So in doing that, here's what happens. The old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So when we went in as a hospice and provided complimentary nursing CE education to our business partners, I always closed with, I don't care which hospice you choose, right? Every patient has a right to choose which hospice provider they use. But the thing is, let's get started with hospice sooner. Let's start those caring conversations earlier and get more patients admitted so that they can receive the real quality of care that hospice can provide, right? Did 100% of those referrals come to me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And no provider can expect that, right? Because there's laws about that kind of thing. So, but the thing is, rising tide lifts all boats. So I have to believe that not only did our hospice grow and prosper, but every hospice in the local area also grew and prospered because many patients and families made other choices. But the thing is that nurses knew what action to take on behalf of the patient. And that's how nursing continuing education can be used to grow a nurse-owned business and help you do what? Serve more clients, which that's the bottom line, right? If you've got a great product or service, and nobody knows about it, if nurses don't know and you have a clinical oriented business or a patient service oriented business and you can't get in front of healthcare providers to teach them about what it is that you do and how it can make a difference for them as well as their patients and families, that's where nursing continuing education comes in, and that's why I talk about it. So what are the steps then to becoming a nursing CE provider? It's a very simple method, y'all. It's only 5 steps. And I have studied it and restudied it and refined it. And so here's what it comes down to. Number 1 is the application process itself. And a lot of times people confuse, nurses that I chat with confuse the application process with an application form. Okay, please don't expect such a thing. There is no form per se to apply to become a nursing continuing education provider. You have some guidelines. You're going to work within those guidelines and you're going to submit a packet of information that you prepare as the application itself. Okay, so you need to understand the application process, and that is the very first step in this. Most applications for both ANCC accredited level CE provider programs and also state level CE provider programs are available online. So you just need to know where to look. And so typically, if you're going to apply to a particular state, you would look up the State Board of Nursing website and then be guided from there through probably numerous links and some pretty intense searching, but you will ultimately find the application process for every state board of nursing if they have one. So that is the very first step, is just kind of knowing what the application process is, grabbing it, and completing it. That's the very first step, okay? Now, the second step would be, I would definitely recommend that you designate someone to serve in the role of continuing nursing education program coordinator. And that means you would have a nurse on your team who actually has the educational and experiential requirements to review the content of nursing continuing education courses that you would like to prepare and present, and validate them as appropriate for nursing continuing education, and sign off on those things. So this can be you yourself if you meet those educational and experiential qualifications. If you do not, though, know that you can probably contract with somebody to get them into that role and serve. For my own personal program, I do not have the educational requirements to serve as the CE program coordinator. However, I contract with a dear friend of mine who does have the educational requirements. I have the experience, I just don't have the educational requirements. And so she serves in that role for me on a contract basis, and the arrangement works great for both of us. So there are many different ways to do it. Also, I want you to think about, if you're considering providing nursing continuing education, and maybe you're not a nurse, maybe you are a holistic wellness coach. And you maybe are not a nurse, you work in some other arena. For instance, I have a physician who has become a nursing CE provider. Okay. I also have a human resources leader who became a nursing continuing education provider to be able to teach nurses leadership courses that she's developed, right? So these people can also be nursing continuing education providers. They just need to have a nurse working in that continuing nursing education program coordinator role. Does that make sense? All right. So that's an important piece. The next step of the application process is going to be developing your organizational policies and procedures. Let's face it, y'all. If you don't set up some standards for how your program will run, how you will develop new courses, how long you'll keep your records, how you will do your annual total program evaluation, different things like this. What are your standards for approving new programs? All of that. How will you update your course offerings? All of that stuff. Then it's not going to be done. Okay. And trust me, every state typically has regulations and rules that are going to state these specific things. So it's important to have those policies in place so that you set yourself up for success, not only for today, but for the long haul. And so most boards of nursing are going to want to see, what are your operational policies and procedures? Okay, so be prepared for those. Crafting your CE offerings. This is step number 4. When you apply to become a nursing continuing education provider, the state boards of nursing, as well as the ANCC, will ask to see 2 to 3 nursing continuing education offerings that have been prepared in what I call the wireframe. All right. So the wireframe is the technical writing piece. It's the title, the behavioral objectives, the outline, reference list, evaluation tool, those kinds of things. It's not the full written content of the course. It's not the video content. It's not the presentation slide deck. It's none of that. It's the technical writing piece of the course that shows that you understand what is necessary, okay, for appropriate nursing continuing education. Okay, there's a very specific way that these course offerings are developed, and that's what the board wants to see that you know and understand how to do. Because, again, once you have that developing the content itself is easy, right? You now know that content frontwards, backwards, inside out, upside down, all of those things. And so speaking the verbal piece or the video piece or developing the written content becomes very simple after you've done that process and you've got all of the references and everything to back you up and support you. Okay. So it's a way to ensure that what you prepare is absolutely correct. Okay. The last step of the process of applying to become a nursing continuing education provider is to submit it. Submit it. You know, if you've done everything according to the state rules and regulations, if you've reviewed the policy application requirements, you know, frontwards and backwards, you know and understand that, then you should be in good shape. You should be in good shape for doing this. So now it's time to submit. Don't stew in your juices. This is time to take action. And the great news is that state boards of nursing are typically very conversational. And if there's something missing or that maybe needs to be revised from an application, then they will usually correspond with you and allow you an opportunity to fix that. All right. The ANCC has very different guidelines on this. And so you'll want to check into that as well if that's the route that you choose. So, that's what I wanted to share with you today is just how, you know, what are the 5 steps to becoming a nursing continuing education provider. And I hope you found this helpful today. Now, what I want to encourage you to do is just go ahead and follow this video or share a like and let other people know that you found value in it and that you've learned something. I would love to connect with you. There's a link below this video if you'd like to schedule a complimentary consultation with me. I would love to have you and chat with you about your goals and vision for a nursing continuing education process or program for yourself. This is one of the most frequently asked questions I get. So again, I hope that I've served you well in this content, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.